Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by our newest sponsor, Double T British Labs out of Emporia, Kansas. That's where they're at, Rick, right?
Yeah, you didn't even mess it up.
Damn, that's a good thing. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver and my favorite cameraman, video guy, the man who hasn't done any porn, but he's done a lot of waterfowl stuff, Mr. Rick Keller. Can I call you Rick, or does it have to be Ricky, or can it be Rick?
I've been called a lot of things. I'll answer to most of them.
Okay. Well, I live that life myself. Anyways, how is life for the traveling cameraman?
Slowing down a little bit right now, which is great because it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside, with half of that being humidity.
What is your next video project you have?
Trying to think. It gets kind of slowed down through the summer. Probably the next thing will be either sporting clays or pistol stuff with Beretta. Usually we do their I don't know the exact pistol competitions, but there's one up there in Cameo up in like Northwest Colorado that's a nationals out there, and then there's like sporting clays nationals down in San Antonio, and usually, or maybe it might be Houston, I don't remember which one it is, but it'll usually be one of those and then lead into the hunting season. So
June is a dead month. Jeff was talking to Schussler from Ducks Unlimited, asking like, hey, is there anything that you want us to put in the commercials, anything Ducks Unlimited's got going on? He's like, it's a dead month until we turn the corner into July. It's like we're just kind of coasting right now, and I think everybody's kind of
everybody's kind of just coasting
right now, taking not last minute vacations, but traveling and all that stuff.
July 5th opens for me. My book's open July 5th if you want to book a hunt. No, that drives me nuts. Anyways, on July 5th, though, anybody that hasn't got a deposit to me, I'm going to be calling on July 5th. So if you've got a hunt booked and you haven't paid me, be expecting a call on July 5th.
2 weeks.
Because I am going to be calling July 5th to find out who's on and who's off. Because if you ain't got a deposit in, I'm going to start booking someone else in them spots. And that's just part of business. It's just part of business. I don't want to pass up a group. If someone wants to come, I'm good with that. Any outfitter should be that way. It blows my mind when someone calls up, do you need to get a deposit? Well, yeah, if you want to book a hunt. If you want to come November 10th to hunt and you don't want to lose a deposit, call me on November 9th. If I've got something on the 10th, by God, I'll damn sure hunt you. But I'm not going to hold dates for you in case you don't call. Mm-hmm. So, Rick, you're going to be here with us August 31st to open up the season with us. We are fixing to release on July 14th the First Family of Waterfowl.
Do you like the name? We toyed back and forth. That process, naming the fucking thing, I hated it.
The hardest thing we've done.
I hated it. Because
it's growing on me.
You want to tell people when they say something stupid, like when it's a bad name, you want to be a little bit polite. Like, you don't want to say, like, oh, that's fucking stupid. Because they're really trying. But, like, I had some dumb ones, but I just didn't voice them. So it's growing on you.
No, it's growing on me. I like it. When he first said it, I was like, But, no, I kind of like it. I think it describes the series and you guys' operation pretty well.
Yeah. Well,
I think this is going to shed light to people that when we say we're a family operation, we are a family operation. And I think that other people will see that with the filming.
No, I agree. Well, and just even, I guess I'm kind of going through the first series right now, or the first episode right now. And one thing that kind of sticks out to me when you say that is it's me, you, Blake, and Andy and Reese in the truck scouting. And I think that was like my second day there or something. And Reese looks at you, he's climbing on the truck, and you said something to him, and he goes, well, do you want me to come climb on you, or do you want me to come climb on the truck? And so it just kind of cracks me up because it's a family thing, and everybody's involved, and everybody's having a good time.
What do you want me to do here? I can climb on you, I can climb on the pickup.
During your times filming with us last year, what surprised you about us in a good way, and what surprised you about us in a bad way?
How Andy's an asshole.
Well, the bad way was that it was 85 degrees or 87 degrees when I got there.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, there wasn't a bad experience. You guys were very welcoming from the start. The whole operation is set up. It's just a very welcoming, and you kind of fit once you're there just a few minutes, you feel like you're part of it, and it was really easy to open up. And one of the things I try to do is when I'm doing the filming stuff, like I kind of try to be out of the way, but still where I can capture everything. And so I just kind of did my thing, and it all worked out.
Yeah, it did.
Were we busier than you thought we would be?
Oh yeah. I guess I didn't understand that you had 3 and 4 groups going every single day. It's not just an outfit; it's an operation. It's bigger than I expected.
I have a lot of people say that, and it's crazy. People will be like, "How many people do y'all run?" And I'll tell them, and they're like, "How many?" And I'll tell them again. They're like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, it's not a. I mean, we're very busy, but we try to be very organized." Yep. And you saw the back side of it, which the customers don't see. They walk in and have dinner and everything looks like it's organized and shit. They don't see the organized chaos we have getting it to that point every day. And that's what we wanted to capture on film.
That's why I'm so excited about you coming for Oberwick in the dove season. It is a shit show, and nobody sees it. What's this, year 27?
This will be our 30th year in season.
30th year. It has been a shit show. This will be the 30th consecutive year of it being a shit show on August 31st when people are pulling down the driveway.
I will agree.
I mean, essentially, it's the first preseason game.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's the dress rehearsal.
It's so good though that the same guys book the entire lodge out year in and year out.
I'm not saying we don't deliver.
But I'm saying they don't realize all the shit that the day before that we're doing and going through. And we're building a new studio right now in a new pro shop, and we should be done with it in a couple of weeks.
We'll be in before the 4th, I bet.
Yeah. On July 5th, the day the deposits all should be here by, we will be in the new studio.
Yeah.
Good time.
Yes, we will be in the new studio and the new pro shop and everything else, and I'm so excited about that. But this project, Andy has been wanting to do a reality type series here since Orange County Choppers. What was the name of that show?
Yep, American Choppers.
American Choppers. He said, "Man,
2003. I've been pushing for this. 20 years later, I'm realizing my dream."
He's like, "We've got this right here."
That's Jesse James, right?
No, that was the Tuttles, Paul Senior and Paul Junior.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
He has been wanting to do one since then, and now we're doing it, and it's going to show everything. And that's what I wanted to do, is to capture the reality of running a hunting business. It's not all just shooting shit.
Could you imagine how far ahead of the game we would be if this motherfucker would have just listened to me 20 years ago?
Well, according to Tony, if you guys would have listened to him about a podcast 10 years ago, then it would have been even bigger.
Where the hell did Tony ever come up with a podcast?
Tony's fucking. He got you alone, and he got.
I thought he said a podcast.
He got to lying to you.
We were talking about something, and I thought he said a podcast.
He got to lying to you as well. He got you by yourself, and he started slinging bullshit at you.
Do you see Tony behind us anywhere? Do you ever hear him on the podcast?
Once in a while when he walks through.
People will hunt with us for 10 years and they'll go, "What's that fat guy that cooks breakfast name?" Tony? You know? And they don't. But it's funny, I'll say something about a client, and we'll just call the guy George. I'll say, "Is George come in yet?" "Who's George?" "George has hunted with us for 23 years. He spends $30,000 a year here. You don't know who George is?" "Which one?" "Oh, okay. I just didn't know his name." I'm like, how the fuck can you be 30 years in here and not know these people's names, you know?
Now, in Jeff's defense, YouTube was not what it is back then. So, like, really the only way that you had a shot of getting a show like that is to get it on network television. So it would have been
and that's a lot of
it would have been a much steeper hill to climb than, now you just fucking put it up on YouTube, and away you go. But
Yep.
even if we would have started with when YouTube started growing. But anyway, we're late to the game, but we're here now. It happens.
That's right.
It happens.
Better late than
Better
never.
late than never. Better late than never.
And then I'm excited already for season 2.
Oh.
And season 1 hadn't even come out yet,
Like,
but I'm ready for season 2. I'm ready to start working on it and getting everybody lined up, the sponsors and everything, and it's going to be a great. I am so excited. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever been a part of, and it's very humbling to think that people are actually going to watch a story about our lives.
Yeah, never looked at it from that perspective.
I mean, it is people.
But
Our lives is something people are actually going to tune in. Well, they do with the podcast, and it's it's very humbling to think that. When you go somewhere and people say, "Hey, do you know world famous Andy Shaver?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Nobody ever says, "Are you Jeff?"
And, another thing with that, like a perspective that gives you is your clients that are coming down to hunt with you, whether they listen to that or they watch this, they already feel like they know you instead of just like, someone they talk to on the phone once or twice. They feel like they kind of already know you, even though you don't know them as well. But it kind of welcomes them in a little easier, I guess.
It has worked out really well on that because on the private podcast page, we have a lot of interaction, and even though Facebook has us toned way down right now, on there it's a lot of our regular people. But I'll have customers that I know their names from that page, or they'll buy when we put a new shirt up, they'll buy a shirt, and I know their names and stuff. And when they call, they'll be like, "Hey," and there's kind of a relationship already built with them. Because of that,
right.
and they know a lot more about us. But I very seldom do we have a group come in the door that's a new group that doesn't listen to the podcast because they'll know what's going on.
Everybody's connected.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. It's I think everything's got hunting turned way down, or it's just a shitty time of the year to be posting stuff. Because like, I've noticed Instagram's got everything turned down. It seems like the only thing that gets a lot of traction is TikTok, and fucking now the Chinese are coming out. The Chinese are spying on us.
Well, you have an Apple iPhone.
I've been putting off getting TikTok for 2 years now, and I finally get it. And now it comes out the motherfuckers are looking at my private information.
We have security cameras in the office, and the whole lodge has got cameras everywhere now. I promise you, them fuckers, if they want to keep, why they'd want to watch us, I have no idea. But there is no secrets. If they want to watch us, they can buzz in through them damn security cameras. So everything we do is public anyways. Rick, let's talk about your story. Where'd you go to school at? Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up here in southeast Kansas, went to a little town called Frontenac. I graduated in 2004, so I'm kind of dating myself a little bit. Let's see, from there, I played football. I started to play basketball, and then that cut into my hunting time. So my freshman year, I just decided not to go. When I was in high school, like if we went to state or deep into the playoffs in football, that cut into our basketball time, and so like basically there was no break in there. So if I would have had like a week or two break to do a little deer hunting, I probably would have played basketball too. But my freshman year, we went to state, and I was like, all right, I got some deer hunting to do. It's late November, and I'm not playing basketball. So from there, I graduated school. And, that was the popular thing to do was, hey, you have to go to college or you're never going to be anything. Mm-hmm. So started going to school. A couple years into school, I was going for construction management, and I was working a co-op with a big construction company called Crossland at the time. And I was out of town all the time with them working, and I was working a buku hours and realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. Because ultimately I wanted to spend more time at home hunting and stuff like that instead of always being on the road working. And so at that point I didn't know what I wanted, but I knew it wasn't that. So I left a job site in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma on Friday, got home just in time to catch the Army recruiter as he was leaving the office. Told him, I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do, but I know this isn't what I'm doing. So I want to do something a little bit different. And a week later I shipped out for basic.
That fast. Happens that fast, doesn't it?
Did that, came back, and it was fast. Well, the same was, I was at a crossroads. Like, I don't know what I want, and I know this isn't going to be a bad decision to join the military. Right. So did that and kind of, I guess, found a little structure and kind of the path that I want to be on, I guess.
Well, and like you can either go serve your country, make a little bit of money, pick up a trade, or you could fuck off 5 years at college and, bury yourself in student loan debt. So like it makes sense that I wish more people, and what a fucking lie we were sold in 2005, 2004, 2006 when I graduated. Oh, you got to go to college. If you're going to make it in this world, you got to get a college degree.
So do you regret having a college degree?
What a fucking crock of shit that was.
Do you regret having a college degree?
I don't regret it, but I was, when I graduated high school, I'm like you. I thought the only way you're going to make it is if you get a college degree. What a lie that was.
Realistically, if I was going to do it again, I'd go work for a couple of years, figure out what I want to do, and then go pursue that.
Yes. Yeah, just, I mean, you can go to trade school. You could be an electrician, a plumber, carpenter. I mean, there's so many avenues that don't require, and quite frankly, they pay better. Like, it makes no sense.
Yep.
Graduated from Texas Tech, and I'm going to go get a job that pays $35,000 a year? I mean, what the fuck?
See, I'm the opposite. I wish now
that you would have got
I wish someone would have pushed me while I was about a freshman or sophomore in high school to really buckle down on my grades. I wish I would have applied to an Ivy League school or somewhere in the Northeast.
Boy, you're going way out there.
And that's really what I'm telling you right now. And I wish I would have done that. And I would have made something of my life. Now, on the opposite end of that, most of my friends that did shit like that, my life's a whole lot more enjoyable, more fun than they've ever had. I love my life. I don't want to change any part of my life right now. But I wish I would have. Right. I had two opportunities. I had a chance one time in Puerto Vallarta to be a entertainment director at a resort. I was on vacation down there, and they had amateur night. And I did amateur night and told jokes and shit, and they offered me a job. And I wish the hell I'd have done that for 6 months. That'd have been some fun fucking times. But I wish I do wish I would have went off to school. But yes, I would tell, I got 3 boys. One of them has a college degree. One of them does some top secret shit we don't know nothing about. The other one is a paramedic who runs a ranch. 2 of the 3 are very, very happy. The one that's top secret and does what the fuck he wants, we don't know what he does, he'll be happy when he gets out of the military, I think, and gets on to doing what he wants to do for a living. But the 2...
I bet if he could talk, he'd tell you he's a little bit happier than you think.
He might be. I'm not saying he's unhappy. He's never said he's not. But I know the other 2, right, one with a college degree and one's paramedic, that both don't have anything to do with what they have a degree in. They're both happy, but they're doing something they like to do.
But it's crazy that in 15 years we've gone from preaching to kids, go get a college education, go get a college degree, to now it's just like...
Go learn to do heating and air conditioning.
Kind of optional. Well, or an
electrician. Post
shit on YouTube. Make YouTube videos. Right. Like, you're going to make way more money doing that shit.
So, Rick, when you...
I mean, look at, is it Jake Paul that came up with that?
Yeah, Logan Paul. Yeah, the Paul brothers.
Yeah.
Well,
there's Michelle with the food.
I can't remember what his name is. Rocking a Bangtail whiskey shirt. I think his name was Mr. Beast or some shit like that, but he's made like $1 billion off of YouTube videos.
Out of the box is the way to make a living today. And social media, which I hate, has changed that. But if it wasn't social media, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
Right.
I mean, I'm a hypocrite for saying that iPhones are horrible, because iPhones are what's making us a living now, too. Okay, Rick, so you went to the military. What did you do in the military exactly?
Military police. I was green as can be going in there, man. Like, the recruiter was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I like to shoot guns. I'm all kind of a country kid. That's what I like doing. He's like, oh, well, we can get you in here and we'll get you a bonus. I was like, all right, let's go. I mean, I was probably the easiest recruit ever. He's like, he threw something out there. I'm like, yep, where do I sign? So I did that. Spent 8 years in the reserves. And then we deployed to Afghanistan in 2010, 2011. Mostly there, we worked what they call a black jail. Basically, it didn't exist, but it did. Now that we're kind of out of that, there's a little bit more information about it out there on the internet that we're still under the gag order, not able to talk about, but there's a lot of information out there. But no, we did that, came home, and that's actually kind of what led me into getting into the camera stuff. I got home in 2011. A buddy of mine was like, hey, do you want to go on a veterans hunt and go help me guide this veterans turkey hunt? Well, I went on that in the spring, and a couple guys there were filming the hunts. And I was like, man, like, I've always kind of thought that'd be cool to film some stuff, but never took steps towards like actually buying a professional camera or anything like that. Well, they actually had nice cameras, and they weren't doing it for money. They were doing it more of a hobby. So anyway, I was with them and got to know one of them. I was like, hey, next year, if you want to come back, he's actually from Oklahoma. His name was Chris Holzer. I was like, hey, if you want to come back down to Kansas next year, we'll turkey hunt and I'll film you and we'll just take turns killing birds and filming. And next thing you know, I'm trading a guy a deer hunt for a camera because I was like still finishing college. I didn't have any money. Back then I was like, hey, the guy was wanting to sell a deer hunt. I was like, well, I got some ground here in Kansas. Or no, correction. He was wanting to sell his camera, and I was like, hey, I haven't got any money, but I got some ground here in Kansas. If you want to hunt, I'll trade you a deer hunt for that camera. And he was all for that. So him living across the border here in Missouri, he traded me that out, and that was my first camera, and it just kind of went from there.
Got it off of a deer hunt. I just looked it up. Mr. Beast earns $3 to $5 million a month off of YouTube.
Well, you need to get your shit going, Andy. We're a little behind that.
$3 to $5 million
We're doing the wrong thing.
a month.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Michelle told me to tell you hello, Rick.
She
Hey, Michelle.
cannot. He can't see you.
No.
But so you traded your first camera was traded off of hunting. That's crazy.
Yep.
Well, you do very, very good work too. So you've learned a really good craft, and I guess you're self-taught.
I mean, you had to be self-taught, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny how things play out in life, right? So that same guy who invited me on that turkey hunt, that was actually through an outdoor ministry that basically provides outdoor recreational therapy to combat wounded soldiers and their families. So with that, I met a few other guys. Well, then this same guy was kind of starting up a hunt club, and I was like, well, if you need any help, I'd love to help you out. Well, so he brought in a film crew out of St. Louis, which was at the time, Foul Reality is who it is. And at the time, I didn't know who they were. Got to be friends with Blake, who owns that, and we just I obviously had a fascination with cameras. He was way better with the cameras I ever was even close to, and so I was kind of everything he was doing. I was like, I want to watch what he's doing. And just kind of shadowed him a lot and learned a lot from him, and then we just kept up from there. And that's actually who I'll be bringing down there to do the series with Blake this year, and it's who we'll be working with, and just kind of escalated from there. The funny thing is, I think it would have been 2000. I want to say 12 or 13. I don't know which year it was for sure. The first paid filming gig I had was with Realtree for Monster Bucks.
Wow.
I was filming Brad Harris, and at the time they paid $75 a hunt, and I was like, man, I'm getting paid to go hunting. This is awesome, and it kind of cracks me up because I was living life up then, but I did that, and we actually killed a pretty good deer and had a really good story with that, and then just kind of escalated up from there.
Do you like?
And now, honestly, most of what I do is the waterfowl.
Do you enjoy waterfowl more than the big game?
Oh, filming wise, yeah. Hunting wise, I don't know. So there's something to me pretty relaxing about just sitting up in the tree, 25 foot up, and with my bow, and just kind of. I guess it's relaxing to me. It is what it is. It's a little bit. I feel like the waterfowl is a little more fast paced.
Yeah, I would agree there. More enjoyable for me.
What gets more views? Do deer hunts get more views on YouTube? I'm getting off into this world, and I have no idea about what people watch. It's a changing trend, and I don't know the answer to that exactly, but I posted some deer reels earlier this year, and the one from the Monster Bucks it's a big wide deer, and part of the controversy on it was the deer scored, I want to say right at 180 somewhere in there, but I put something on there, would he make Boone, or I don't remember what the post was, would he make 170 or whatever, and there's a lot of controversy, but that one went over a million Really?
plays, and I'm like, where did that just blow up from? I have not that big of a following, but then I'll get another one that barely makes 10,000 views. So I don't know what the right answer on that is.
I can't follow the fucking algorithm changes and all that stuff. Did you put it on your Instagram? I'm gonna try to find it. Uh-oh.
Boop, boop. You done got booted off.
Started talking about deer, and oh yeah, there it is. Can you hear me, Rick? 1.2 million. What dreams are made of? Over or under 170 gross? I might have to. You there, Rick? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I see it now. What dreams are made of? Over or under 170 gross?
And so my question is the caption what caused a lot of the controversy and got a lot of attention on there? Or was it the video, or do people even look at the caption? I don't know, but
it's gotta be. So you got
took off like a wildfire.
You had 126 comments on there, so like, I'm sure people were engaging and they were commenting, and then I'm sure that they were sending it to their buddies.
Yep, there was a ton of shares.
Yeah, so like that's what it. And there's some fucking dickheads in there.
Oh yeah, man, I have to really filter what there's so many times I'm like, I comment, I'm like, nope, delete it, just delete it.
Yeah, fuck, it's illegal to bait. What? I mean, you just God.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of people out there.
We were talking with Renard Moody from 24/7 Hunt, and they had a video go viral, and. You know, it's like the fucking tumbleweed video that I posted. And I had dickheads commenting about the fucking tumbleweed. It's like it gets to where, like, when something like that goes viral, like, you see the worst of people.
Well, they were talking about them for having white wives.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, I'm here. I am. I'm all butthurt about somebody Texas-sized tumbleweed. Blah blah blah. They were going after him because some of his buddies have married. He's a black guy, and some of his buddies have married white women, and like they researched them and found family pictures, and just they went hard after him. Well, but I mean, it's just like when something goes viral, like everybody wants it to do that, but you're opening yourself up to a whole host of problems that you don't even see coming.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if Michelle gets hit by a bus and Halle Berry wants to be my second wife. Amen. People get on my ass all you want to. I don't care. Halle is a smoke
Andy,
show.
are you okay with Halle Berry being a stepmom?
I don't know if she'd make a very good stepmom. She seems a little self-centered.
I'm not really worried about the mom ability.
Oh.
It's more of the wife ability.
Yeah.
I saw her in Monsters Ball.
Yeah.
She's a hottie.
What were you going to say before Jeff interrupted you with this Halle Berry talk? About videos going
I don't
viral?
remember, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I have to restrict myself because, like, you get some guy post something stupid on there, you want to be like, hey, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Right.
But then you're like, you know what, this isn't gonna. And then next time I know, my account's gonna be banned for a week for saying it. And
you had another one.
I've been in Facebook jail plenty. So
for someone that has a hard time keeping his mouth shut, which is me, I have realized through the podcast. Now, not my personal Facebook. I get shut down all the time for stuff. But when it comes to the podcast stuff, we put ourselves out there, and we should deal with whatever happens, bad or good. Just ignore it. Someone talks rap. Yeah. It's part of life.
Well, that tumbleweed one really got me, Jeff.
But there's no.
Got my blood boiling.
There's no sense in that.
You had another one have 800,000 views. Fat Neck.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool story in its own. Is that the one where he's like broadside to me?
Yes.
Yeah, so that deer right there is 5 years old, and I can't tell you for the life of me why I didn't kill him. He's at like 25 yards, maybe 20. But I just sit there and filmed him the whole time. And he was a deer that actually, I know it's a waterfowl podcast, but the deer stuff kind of is kind of like my bread and butter, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, so that was on my dad's farm, and we watched him as like a 2-year-old that we assumed he was either 2 or 3 at the time, and he came underneath us and walked up with another buck and like just whooped his ass right there. And
really,
we always called him Fat Neck, just he was like kind of a big old neck deer and kind of a big bully. Well, so then fast forward, there he is at 5 years old. Watched him again the next year, and then he kind of disappeared for a couple years. He shows back up as a 10-year-old deer, and like, I mean, his horns have just gone to trash. Like, it's just a big, like, ugly looking horns, but he's massive and just a huge bodied deer. Mm-hmm. And so my brother-in-law and I were like, all right, we have to get him killed this year. And that was on our family farm. Well, he was like, and I told Todd this, which is my brother-in-law. I was like, hey, like I'm seeing this deer in the daylight more. Like he doesn't care. It's almost like he's like, hey, look, I've made it 10 years old. Like nothing is gonna hurt me
Fuck
here.
it.
Like I'll do what I want to do. Yeah, and he ended up killing him on I think it was like November 10th or 9th or something like that, or maybe the 14th. But that year, that was the last year all three of us hunted that farm before my dad sold it. And I killed a good deer at the end of November, and then my dad killed a good one early on in November, and then Todd killed that one in mid-November. So it was pretty good year that year.
It's crazy because like you can just tell he's just like this old warrior.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you're
he's
on the
been through
Instagram, there's some
fucking
pages or
battles.
some pictures of him. I don't know where they're at exactly, but there's some pictures of my brother-in-law with him, and he's a very distinct old brute, like just big old massive bases, and he was pretty cool looking deer.
Deer hunting's one thing that I never got into, and I mean, you know, we're a waterfowl family, so you know it kind of makes sense. But people that like deer hunting, like they're like I am for waterfowl hunting.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, and
Go ahead.
I love the waterfowl hunting. Don't be wrong. I grew up as a little kid deer hunting. In fact, I didn't waterfowl hunt until I was 17 years old. My dad and I would always quail hunt, but then the quail hunting here in southeast Kansas kind of just fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
You walk all day to see one cubby, and you couldn't bring yourself to kill birds out of one cubby, and so we just quit doing it. And then a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, you want to go duck hunting?" I was like, "Well, I've never done it, but yeah." So we went and did that, and the addiction caught a hold of me at the time, and then I started getting into having a duck dog. And to be honest with you, more than anything, I can't say that I don't care to ever kill another mallard, but if I can go and take my dog and just go on the hunt, I'm just as happy as I am pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
That's an age deal, I think. Do you you talked about the quail hunt. My dad grew up in southeast Kansas, and he said when he was a kid, it was the best quail hunting in the whole world was probably right there. But when they quit, started farming fence line to fence line, he said it ruined a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you a question. My great-grandfather owned a farm that was right off of the Wilson State Lake, I think is what it's called, between Buffalo and Chanute. There's a lake right there. And my grandpa owned a farm. My great-grandfather owned a farm right there. Does that lake hold a lot of ducks and geese now?
I don't. So Chanute is right at an hour from my house. So we really don't venture much further west of there. Kind of about that hour is about where we kind of stop at. And to be honest with you, we have enough stuff right around our house that anymore, like last year, towards the end of the year, I think I came home from being with you guys, and we had like a couple weeks left in season. Well, I went around to several places, found a few birds, called a few guys that I used to know, and talked to a cousin of mine that owns some ground. And every place that I found birds on, I found like 4 places. I called them, and they're like, "Man, like I wish I could let you hunt, but I've leased it out. And that's kind of where we're at. We're in between like Oklahoma City and Tulsa area and Kansas City, and then we have Springfield to our right, Wichita to our west, and like all the guys with the money are coming over our way and either buying the ground for hunting or they're leasing it up for a crazy amount of money. And the leasing's been going on for a while, but it's getting really bad around us now. And so at that point, I was like, man, I'm tired of getting told no on all these places I used to hunt. So I just called Wade Skeen up. I was like, hey, if you got birds, I'm on my way over. And he's like, yeah, dude, come over here. So I spent like the last 10 days of season hunting with him and just kind of taking pictures and hunting and running the dogs and having a good time.
That's a good dude to hang out with. I'd do the same thing.
It is.
But anyways, the reason I asked about that lake is my dad said my grandpa's farm would get 1 or 2 flocks of geese every year. And they killed ducks, but they didn't have a lot of geese then in southeast Kansas. Now it seems like that area holds a ton of ducks and geese, more than it used to 30, 40 years ago. But they don't have no quail no more.
I feel like we always hear the stories of what it used to be, like, back in even Arkansas or anywhere. Some of the guys who are the old timers have been doing it forever out here. Like been hunting some of the public around here for 40, 50 years. They're like, oh, you should have seen what it was like back then. And, and you always hear that story, but, and I can say that from when I started hunting to where I'm now, the hunting's not as good as it once was. And I can't say the birds aren't there, but there's also way more pressure, which is kind of a love with social media and Onyx. I mean, don't get me wrong, Onyx, I love it, but man, everybody can pull up their phone and go guide themselves to either someone's someone's front door to go ask them permission, or all the public ground in the country.
You know, you talk about the old timers. Anybody that's an old timer to me is dead now, just about, because I'm old. You know, and I've been chasing ducks and geese that I can remember, and I have a pretty good memory in my childhood. I was 7, 8 years old when my dad had an old white Chevy pickup, and he was a fireman, and we would leave Wichita Falls, and we drove up and we hunted right the places that you rode around with me when we were in them peanut fields. Those are the same places when I was 7 and 8 years old. We were looking, and there was 7 or 8 playa lakes here. And we would go then, and I guess it rained every year because they always had water in them. But I remember the sky was black with the ducks. And I mean thousands and thousands and thousands of ducks. We didn't have the geese in the early 80s and 1980 like we have now. We had ducks. But the ducks would fly, and it's funny, they would come off the playa lakes and they would fly to Miller Creek every night. So they would roost on the big lake over there, and then they would come over to the playas and stay and feed all day long. But, I mean, when you would drive down 277 right at 5:30, 6 o'clock, it was just waves of ducks coming from the west. We didn't have peanut fields then. We had Milo. But as a kid growing up, there was a lot more ducks than there are now. Now, I didn't go in the Midwest. And there was no outfitters anywhere else. We didn't have money to go on an outfitter anyway. We hunted on our own. But I don't know that we have more ducks or less ducks. I just know when I grew up, we were on a 10-point system, and we could shoot 10 teal, 10 pintails. So it seemed like a lot more because me, Tony, and my dad, we would shoot there's days we would shoot 40 ducks. 50 ducks was our limit. Our limit was 100 shells. Whatever we shot at 100 shells, we were done. And
that's a modern day Mexico hunt.
Yes. And there's a lot of times we would kill 40, 50 teal. That was my favorite duck to shoot growing up anyways, was green-winged teal.
Yeah.
They
eat good.
We were hunting on Winchester, one of the playas down here, and I was probably 12, and it was froze solid. Just froze solid, and because we stood on top of the ice, and Dad, they had a hole over there, and he was putting some decoys out, and he was going to put the stuff back in. He was going to get the dog, and I shot 13 for 13 on green-winged teal. And I remember Tony was crying and bitching because I was shooting every one of them. It was just little singles would come in. I was shooting them all. In fact, Dad took 30 minutes to round up all the ducks I shot when he got to the blind. Tony was crying. Dad was bitching at the dog. It was cold. It was frozen. But those are the kind of hunts I grew up on. We don't have ducks like that now. Or if we do, they're stuck in North Dakota or they're on the Platte in Nebraska. But
you don't see days like that anymore. I don't feel like it's kind of think of the past. One of my old buddies, I've guided him on some turkey hunts, and he's a gentleman out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, and he's in his probably late 70s. And everybody sees the famous Claypool picture down there where all the ducks sitting there on the flooded timber, and he was like, man, when you would go down the interstate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd be headed north, and when they got up, it almost like looked like it got cloudy outside. It's like there were so many ducks that it would get darker. And I wish we could go back and see that or have that just like one more time. And I think that's part of waterfowl hunting is kind of we're always chasing that one really good hunt that we've had once or something like that. Or
I got a picture over there by the serving table. You've seen the Claypool picture from 1958 with ABC Sports was there, and there was a million mallards in that hole. Yep, that's the picture I'm talking about. I would love to go see that. I went to North Dakota the first time about 8 years ago. And I was really, I just like going, it was like going back in time. We wasn't just a ton of birds or nothing. And me and Andy went to Canada and we hunted and we saw a bunch of birds and stuff. And I would like to go back and see some of those days. But I don't know that if we went back to 1950, I don't think we had as many ducks in 1950 as we have now because we have more programs designed to help them. There was more hunters probably in 1950 and 1960, but a guy was going to shoot 2 ducks to feed his family.
Right.
Well, it wasn't guys sitting up piles of. You didn't hear about guys shooting 100 birds in 1960, like you do now.
No, but the other side of that was you didn't have social media
That's
either.
True too.
Yeah, but do you read any of Nash Buckingham's books?
He's
a really cool author, and he talks. And he grew up fortunate, and he got to go to hunt at a lot of really cool places and hunt clubs and stuff. And back when they had the guy that rowed the boat for them, and put out the decoys, and they didn't. That didn't have days where they shot that many birds. but there just wasn't that many hunters at that time.
But is that a biographical account, or is he
pretty close
telling stories?
No. It's a it's about him. Mr. I think it's called Mr. Buck is his name of his book. It's an autobiography of himself. It's pretty interesting. Went to Harvard. I mean, he lived a pretty fortunate life, but he was an outdoorsman. He loved to hunt. And it talks about all the different hunting and the hunt clubs that his parents were members of, his dad. And he grew up around Memphis, I believe. I can't remember all the whole count. I've read so many damn books lately. I think it's around Memphis he done. But he was the upper crust, and he got to hunt on them hunt clubs around Stuttgart and stuff before there was big corporate stuff. And he talks about the duck numbers and stuff, and they killed ducks. But what I always find amazing is his stories is the story about the weather. Because we have so lack of it now. It was so common back then to have a 2-week or 3-week blue northern where it really stayed really cold. But I think we have more waterfowl now than we had then. We just got too many people shooting 100 bird stacks now.
Right.
I think hunters are our own worst enemies sometimes.
I would agree with that. And here's another thought: is you think about that, these lessers, like you're seeing a lot of these lessers come in groups of anywhere from 50 to 300, 400.
Yes.
And when 10 guys empty guns on that, and 10 of them fall or 20 of them fall, whatever, there's another 10 or 20 that flew off that are going to die.
Right.
Yes.
I mean,
I agree. Brad Allback hunts around Fort Cobb, and I think Brad has got a 6-bird limit. He limits his customers to 6 birds.
Might even be 5.
It could be 5. And my hat's off to him for that. I appreciate that, Brad.
Because
we need more of that.
In Oklahoma, it's 8.
Yeah, it's 8. And I think he sets his limit at 5, and he advertises that. Listen, we get to
5 or 6.
6 birds, we're done. Because there is nothing worse when we've been up in Oklahoma and we've got 10 guys, and you shoot, and you do a count, and you've got 64 geese killed. And it's like, okay, guys, we need 16 more to go. It's like, no, that's enough. We've shot enough.
Right.
That's already a big pile. You don't need more.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Most of the guys that we have, they're not gonna fucking eat the birds anyway. So I mean, we've talked about it before. The hunters are not. They're not using it to feed their family or anything like that. Like the 2 birds that they're gonna want to shoot, probably gonna get fucking freezer burned anyway by the time they get around to it. Especially if you have a burner the next day, and now all of a sudden you got 16 geese that you're taking home. You're not gonna fucking eat that. Get out of here.
Has eastern Colorado got any rain this year?
I don't know.
There's some places that haven't had a lot of rain, and they planted a lot of.
Has Blake?
Blake has not had a lot of rain.
No, Blake's dry.
So I'm assuming if Blake's dry, they're probably dry in some places in eastern Colorado. There's some places the birds are going to have some different patterns if we don't have a wet fall. If we don't have a wet September, October, we're going to see some differences in some birds' migration patterns this year. And that's what happened with us. We held all those little Canadas that are in northern Oklahoma now and around Oklahoma City and around Fort Cobb. Those birds were in Knox and Haskell County. We had a drought for 4 years, and they changed their feeding habits and where they were going. And then they imprinted on all those young birds. Same thing's going to happen again. You're going to bounce them birds around. You keep hunting on ponds and shooting 100 bird stacks every day and calling it's just a loaf area or whatever it is. That's going to catch up to you eventually, and you're going to move them birds. I don't give a shit what you do. I'm not hunting up there. You do whatever you want to do, whatever makes you happy. But you're not helping yourself. Listen from someone that's been around a long time, that's been through that game. In Andy's lifetime of being in the hunt business is basically his whole life. He's seen us have 500,000 to 1 million small Canadas here to now where we have 15,000 small Canadas is a bunch for the small ones because we got all the specs and stuff here. But he's seen the difference of it is. And if I could go back and change things, I don't know what we do different unless we just built some lakes and leave them alone completely.
Right.
But they like to feed in big groups. They decoy in big groups, and there's nothing more beautiful than watching 300 lessers dive right into those little cacklers with their wings cupped, coming right in and not even circle. But you can't. You can't keep shooting 100 birds out every day and expect those birds to not get pestered. If you leave them if you leave their water alone, they'll be okay. But if you start hunting them on water, you're screwing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, they already, a lot of those birds will roost the same area and continue to go back there. So get underneath them on the fields. And around here, there's a lot of guys that will lose their mind and make a real ass of themselves if they catch you hunting the roost. Like that's a big deal. It's sacred around here.
That's smart, is what it is.
There's enough ag around us. There's no reason for us to hunt the roost.
No, they're right, because they're going to push those birds out. one of the problems we have as hunters today is hunters don't know how to take a bad hunt. They're so worried about having
to get that Instagram picture, baby.
Some days, with clients, you don't ever want your clients to have a bad day. But why would you ruin 2 weeks of hunting for one morning? Then you got 13 more days that are going to be bad. Just some days, hey, guys, there's no wind today. We're running traffic. We're in between a field and the water hole. Hopefully we'll pull some birds in, and there's days you'll pull in good hunts. There's days you're not. It's called hunting, You want a guaranteed hunt, go on a damn canned pheasant hunt.
Well, and I think a lot of it does have to do with what Andy just said is the social media aspect. And one of the things I hear going around a bunch of different outfitters and in different places is I hear all these younger guys keep talking about, oh yeah, I'm a killer or this or that, or they killed this many, and they constantly talk about it, and they can't wait to put it on their social media and all that. And to be honest with you, I sit here and listen to that, and I'm like, man, like some of the guys that I know that like flat out kill birds, they don't say a word. They shoot their birds, get out, and go back, and it's a kind of almost like if a grizzly bear walks in the room, you don't have to ask him if he's a grizzly bear. You know he is.
Yeah, that's if you're not in the hunting business, why you post anything about all your killing stuff unless you own your property? If you own your property and you're hunting your own property, you're not hurting yourself. But if you're leasing your stuff or whatever it is, you're just asking for someone to come in and bump you.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I have, especially with deer leases, I've got guys every year that come in here and show me their pictures that they hunt with us in January. They deer hunt November, December. When deer season ends, then they come goose hunting for a weekend or a couple of days. And they'll show me pictures. Let me show you what my grandson shot this year. And so every year I ask, hey, I said, how'd your deer season go? You ain't going to believe this shit. But after we left here last year, we got a call in February, and this asshole down the street offered him $10 more an acre for us. A guy that's got a lot of money and you got 3,000 acres leased, $30,000 ain't nothing extra for him, No. I got a client that hunts with me that's got a deer lease in the Golden Triangle between Del Rio, Laredo, and San Antonio down there. High dollar shit. He pays $100,000 a year for him and his wife and his 2 boys to have a place to hunt that nobody else can hunt on.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They shoot 170-inch deer every year. But he pays $100,000 a year. But that's his passion.
Yeah.
He's a surgeon. He makes a lot of money.
It's a lot of jack.
But to him, it's not that big a deal. His kids are happy. His wife's happy. They got a nice place down there. But they're leasing the place. I think it's on one of the Briscoe ranches. But well,
it's funny. Like even with all the fuel prices going up and everything, and even a few years ago when we started seeing that, everybody was like, "Oh, we got to cut back." Well, people never cut back on alcohol, tobacco, or their hobbies.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. We've had food shortages, but we ain't had a fucking beer shortage yet. That's when we're gonna have some problems. See, the Democrats are smart. They're fucking weaning us off everything else, cutting us back. Yeah. But they know if they take out fucking cigarettes and beer or tobacco.
Oh, it's a bad day.
See, a guy like me that doesn't drink or smoke, it's not gonna bother me at all. If I never had alcohol again the rest of my life, I like to have a drink every once in a while. But tobacco, if you took tobacco out, I wouldn't give 2 shits. But boy, you talk about some pissed off people, boy.
You'd see a revolt. There would be blood in the street if you take away alcohol and tobacco.
Could you make a hunting season without that, Andy?
I could. Y'all to be some crabby bastards around here.
I just like having a drink at the end of the day.
Is Stoner still quit smoking?
He's.
Good for Josh. I'm proud of you, Josh.
Vapes.
But
as long as he didn't switch to one of those vapes or whatever.
I think he's vaping now.
Yeah, he's a vapor.
I don't.
That's the popular thing. All these kids sucking on USB ports.
I've never understood that shit. I've never smoked a thing in my life, so I don't understand the smoking deal.
I thought you smoked a cigar.
I put a cigar in my mouth about like Monica Lewinsky did, and I fucking blew it out. I did not inhale any fucking.
You don't inhale cigar or smoke anyway.
So you're telling me a real cigar smoker does not inhale it like he would a cigarette smoke?
Put it in your mouth and you let the aroma and the flavors hit your palate, and then you.
Rick Keller,
blow it out.
You smoke cigars ever?
I've smoked a few. Not a whole lot.
Did you pull them into your lungs and then blow them out?
I was told like every 3rd or 4th puff you would inhale.
See there?
Let me look.
But I mean that's not by anyone who's what I call a good cigar smoker or big smoker.
This is
cigar
traditional.
This is what's funny. Andy here wants to be something he's not, and he wants to be a cigar smoker, a scotch drinker.
Traditionally, cigar smokers do not inhale.
Well, then I was a cigar smoker. I've done that a few times.
Inhaling is uncomfortable and significantly increases the hazards associated with cigar smoking, and there is no reason to inhale cigar smoke. Unlike cigarettes, we absorb nicotine from a cigar within the mucous membranes of our mouth, not the lungs. The more you know.
I can tell you it's uncomfortable.
The more you know, Jeff.
So those
fuck yeah.
Those big $100 cigars you see them people smoking in Vegas and shit, they're just putting it in their mouth and popping it out.
Just chomping on an old cigar.
But yes, I have done that a few times.
So see there, you're lying to the people.
No, I
You
don't.
have
I've never.
smoked.
Okay, but I've.
You have
yes,
smoked.
okay, I've
You've
smoked
said,
a cigar. Some.
You've said, blanket statement, I've never smoked anything in my life. That, in fact, is a lie.
That is a lie. I do.
Okay.
I would retract
just making
that
sure
then.
that everybody knows that you are, in fact, a liar.
I'm a hypocrite and a liar. I have
Hypocrite
smoked a
and a
couple
liar.
cigars.
Okay, just making sure.
But every time I've smoked a cigar, I think I was at a bachelor party. So titties were involved, and I was off my
you were
game.
trying to be a big shot.
Maybe so. I don't know.
The other day, when Jesse and the boys were out of town, I had a cigar and a whiskey.
Bangtail whiskey.
In the back. We finished in our back patio. It's got a nice top on it, and we got nice patio furniture out there. Gonna get a TV up. And anyway, I was having a cigar, Ducks Unlimited cigar, and I had Lou out there with me, and it was this crazy. I was at the perfect level of drunkenness to where like my mind was starting to wander. So it was dark outside, full moon, and we've got like lights on our patio, so it's kind of like a campfire almost. You go out 25 yards and it fades to blackness. And I was sitting there with Lou. Lou is laying down. He is not enjoying this night at all. Like his ears are up and he's scanning the darkness for predators. And I was like, you know what? This is probably what it was like 1,000 years ago when you're just fucking out in the middle of nowhere. You got your campfire and you got your four-legged hunting buddy. Well, we weren't hunting buddy back then, but like...
You think they were smoking cigars and drinking whiskeys?
No. Like just having a dog there because like he was on edge until we went inside. His every little twig break, like he was fucking looking. And then like he would go to the fence and then he'd make a lap and then he'd come lay down. And then he'd scan, he'd go to the fence kind of to where it starts getting dark. He'd make a lap and he would come back. And I was like, you know what? This is probably what it was like all those years ago when you're just out on the fucking prairie and you've got your dog and a campfire and a rifle.
Yeah.
And that's it. It was a weird moment for
I
me,
think
Jeff.
back in the Indian days, I don't think they built big fires because they didn't want to be seen. They
Probably not.
Sleep in the shadows.
Probably not. But it was a full moon night, so you could kind of see out into the field a little bit. You could just tell he was tapping into something instinctual within him. And it was cool to see, Jeff. I was at that perfect level of drunkenness where my mind started to wander a little bit.
Yeah, I was wondering a lot is what I'm thinking.
You don't ever think about that? Like you're just sitting out there, you got
I'll sit in the hot tub every night.
Ollie out there, and
I'll sit in
he
the hot.
just starts fucking barking. But he would. It was just crazy though, because like he was always testing the perimeter. He did not relax.
Maybe he was just pissed off you weren't sharing.
Yeah, it could have been.
been.
Ollie and me go outside every night. I get in the hot tub. Ollie makes it around the yard, looks for possums and stuff, and that's the end of it. He found a possum the other day too, boy. And he grabbed something, and I could see it in his mouth. I did not know if it was a squirrel, a big rat, which we don't have any rats at all, or a possum.
And it was a possum.
And I finally got it away from him because he was bolted towards the door, and I thought, oh, shit. And I was afraid, oh, she's going to go in the house with something and let it go. It was a possum. That son bitch laid there for about 15 minutes. And I thought, shit, he did kill that fucker. I got up and some bitch was gone. What a defense mechanism. Lay there and let something chew on your ass and not
Playing
fucking
possum.
move.
So,
Right.
how long on average does it for you to do like one episode of our series? Like how many editing hours are involved in one episode?
Oh, I was telling Jeff this the other day. I've started on the first episode, like, and I have it all. It's like all laid out there in my timeline. Like I've had it where I thought this is what I wanted, then I like started thinking about it for a couple of days. I was like, all right, I want to change that around a little bit. So, once the creative process is kind of there in the direction you want to go, it's probably 6, 7, 8 hours.
Well, that's not terrible.
To get it, but my problem is that I'll sit here and watch it. And I'm like, all right, I kind of want to change this around. And so I sit there and I'll kind of change. And that's the other thing is there's no real right or wrong order of what we're doing. Like the story's there. So like the audio is obviously got an order to it, but as far as the filler footage, there's no right or wrong. And so it's just, I kind of mix it around. So that's the hardest part really in my mind is just deciding what the right creative process is.
Which one of the guides is going to become the sensation of this video? Because it always is that way. It's someone in the
Blake Poppy.
That really so Andy, Blake,
and Josh,
Stoner, and I forget the other kid that was with the day that they were both like sick as dogs. I forget his name,
Lawson,
but that's
maybe?
really the only guys that I really hunted with.
Maybe Lawson.
We were going to do that widgeon hunt, but that one ended up not going through. Someone got strep throat or something like that.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I remember now. I don't know. Blake's got the camera appeal, I think, because he's just such a likable kid, and I think everybody will gravitate towards him.
I haven't edited much out, like as far as like words or anything, but there was a few words Blake says I have to kind of clean up here and there.
When he says that about when you got him on the camera and the mic, and he ducks about all the dead bodies around there. Oh, there's dead geese everywhere. There's blood and feathers. Oh my God, we're gonna need a medic down here.
That was
He's fucking hilarious. He's so funny.
And it's just off the cuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. And putting a mic on him, a camera in front of him, none of that affects him. He's Blake one way or another.
Blood and feathers everywhere here, folks. Get a medic down here now.
But then, like, you've got the teasers and stuff. So, like, there's more than just the episodes. Like, you've had I don't know how many teasers we've had, 4 or 5 or 6. But
one last one to go.
I mean, that also adds to. I mean, or do those come together pretty quickly?
Yeah, those especially with the music, like, because so that's another process too. Is like finding the music that matches the moment, like the royalty-free music and stuff that matches, that I feel like matches it. And maybe someone else would think differently, but that's a process. Like I'll listen to 100 songs before I decide on 2 of them. I mean, it's just a matter of finding the right ones. And I'm sure, like when you were doing the intro of the podcast and stuff, the same thing. Just to find that right stuff you liked.
And then you never even know.
Teasers,
and then you still don't know.
Yeah.
You pick one, and you're like, ah, fuck, I guess.
You done a good job on the picking. You and Ed picked the song for the podcast.
Yeah,
y'all done good on that. I don't know how many songs did we choose? Did you choose from?
The worst that you could, like, we had it narrowed down to like 6, and then like we did like definite no's, and then like maybes, and then like strong favorites, and then that's how we came up with this one. But I couldn't imagine listening to 100 songs to pick 2.
Do you have any footage of Michelle chewing on my ass so everybody will know how it's really like around here?
I don't.
You will.
I really don't, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, no shit.
You'll get it.
Do you have any of me bitching at anybody?
Not really. No. I mean, just getting everybody shit in the guide rooms, which, that's the other thing is going through the whole editing stuff. I'm like, kind of taking notes. I'm like, all right, this is something I need to get more of, and this is what I need to make sure I'm getting. It's a learning curve as I go. And I talked to Blake, and kind of basically what our plan is to show up on the 30th, because I want to be there all day to catch all of the clusterfuck and everything else. I want to see everything that happens. As much as I don't want to wish tough times on you guys, I do want it to happen so we can capture it.
Oh, there'll be some stuff. Don't worry.
Just something out of the blue will happen.
There's something. I promise you that will happen. Our guide meetings alone could be a camera every day in there of what we have before the season starts. I mean, before the hunt the night before on all our waterfowl, because we have a sit down, talk down, and we, there's no punches not thrown in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I got some hilarious comments of you talking to Blake and Andy and calling them names and whatnot.
Just our normal everyday shit.
Some of the guys is hilarious.
That's my favorite part of the day.
The best one though is when Matt got in trouble for cussing at the group, And we were in a meeting, and Blake goes, "Do you think it's possible for me to have? Could Matt have a group that enjoys cussing, getting cussed at?
Enjoys getting cussed at.
I was just right out of the bottom."
And then Matt, because it was his first time, getting sent to the principal's office, and everybody's it's kind of the elephant in the room. And then Blake, do you think you have a group tomorrow that would enjoy getting cussed at? Because if you do, Matt over here would like to take them.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you address it, you put light on it, and then everybody puts in their 2 cents, and it's over with. Everybody quits tiptoeing around the subject.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck with you. If you fuck up, we're gonna fuck with you bad. There's no doubt about that. And once I say my piece and I'm upset with someone, I'm done. I mean, you're not gonna get fired over it. If you screw up, own up to it. But I am gonna bring it up.
Yeah. I think the funniest part of that was Stoner's like, "Did you miss the 5-minute prayer?"
Did you miss the prayer?
Yeah. Yeah. That should have been a dead giveaway. They were pretty religious if they prayed for 5 minutes before the hunt started.
It is. I'm looking forward to seeing what all you got. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, like Jeff said, it's a fun new project that we got going on out here. So,
yeah.
And I'm looking forward to season 2, like Jeff is. And what's crazy, it's the recording of this is June 20th. It's not that far off anymore.
It's
not.
Nope, about 4 weeks away. It'll be the grand preview of the First Family of Waterfowl. I love that name. We've got a really cool logo that's coming out on that, and I've got to get you the other ones too. He's supposed to email that to me to get to you that artwork that you need. So, anyways,
and I got to message Brandon again to remind him.
Okay.
What is that? Is that a pain in the ass? Putting the Looking Glass and Boss and all that. Is that tough to get that in there? Or is it just a file and you put it up?
Yeah, it's just a vector file, and sometimes I'll go in and clean it up in Photoshop, and then and kind of the way I'm seeing it in my mind is it's going to be a file that it'll be the logo, but it'll be clear, so you'll see it, but it'll be clear,
right.
So you'll still see the video in the background moving around behind it. So that's kind of how I'm envisioning it happening.
Right.
So I have a little clip in there, kind of that I have set up where I want to put it right in here in the intro, and another thing, each intro, the way I'm doing it, the first 25 seconds is, and the first one is Jeff talking about kind of the story of them getting started, and there's a line in there that he says for about 20 seconds, and then it's got little clips that are kind of hinting at what you're going to see throughout the rest of the episode, and then we'll go into the logo for the show, and then we'll go from there into the story. So,
am I going to come off like an asshole or a good guy when this is all over with? I need to prepare myself.
Yes,
I'm hoping to ask.
Yes, that's a yes. That means both.
No, I think it's going to come out pretty good. I like the layout of it and the story. The problem is there's so much details of different things that have happened, like how you guys got to where you're at. It's like, without making this an hour and a half long video, how do I narrow down the right events, and what do I cut in, what do I cut out, and what can be used in the next one, what can I, stuff like that. So
I want to come out to be more like Uncle Si than Willie, because Willie always seems to be the asshole, and Uncle Si seemed to be the fun, nice guy.
Do you send this to anybody else to like Blake? Do you send it to him, like your creative partner, hey, what do you think about this? Like when you're editing, or do you not want that external voice?
No, I would love to have that. But this year, for the last season we did, I've just done all that myself. So Blake and I have he looked it up, and there's a way that we can basically, every time we save it, it's a program through Premiere that every time we save it, he can pull it up. So basically I can get on there and edit and do some rough edits, and then he'll hop in there and go, okay, let me look at it. And then he'll do, his spin on it. And really as a team effort, with him living in St. Louis and me being here, he can hop on there and edit a little bit. And then I can hop on there and edit. We can both edit the whole, or one episode, and kind of make it a group effort instead of having to one guy just do it all and come up with it. So,
right. Yeah. Cause and it's such a fine line that you walk, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's you're the one that's kind of doing all this, and you've got your idea. So I didn't know how much another voice would fuck, is he right? Cause if you're not confident in yourself, that can create doubt. then you'd be like, fuck, maybe
Right.
I do need to do it like this. And then part of you is like, no, I need to go with my gut and do it like I saw it the first time. So I don't know. I make things way too complicated, I think.
Well, no, I'm the same way. And then I'll sit there and watch it, and I'll change it. And then I'll be like, no, maybe I like it the other way.
Yeah.
And then that's why I'm where I'm at. It is, like I said, is once I get that once I realize the direction I'm going to run with it and the layout of it, then it's good. It's easier from there. It's easier sailing. And that's one thing is I'll be kicking you guys the first episode here probably this weekend. And what I want from that is you guys look at it and go, okay, here's what I like, what I don't like. To Jeff, go, hey, yeah, I look like an asshole here. Change that out.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I want to get you guys' thoughts on it.
Well, if I come out as an asshole, I probably am one, and I don't. I want him to see the real what it's like around here.
Yeah,
I do. The whole thing from Andy being anal to just the whole thing. I want to show everything that's encompasses who we are and what our story is. Everybody's got a story, and every place has a story, and I want to be able to tell ours that way.
One thing I've never seen on a hunting show, and granted, I don't watch a lot of hunting shows, but like the crane hunt we had at the first trip, I think it was like the third or fourth day. I mean, nothing we could have done differently, but for some reason they got up and went a different direction. Mm-hmm. Didn't get a crane to even look within a half mile of us.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
And there's nothing we could have done. They were there the next day or the day before that, so we did what we could. And part of the thing on the way back is I was talking to Andy on camera and letting him kind of explain what happened. And that's a lot of me says like, or the first part says, hey, don't put that hunt on there. Like, but that's the reality of what it is. It's not go out there and smash birds every time. Right. Some days are going to be, you can't do anything wrong. Some days you can't do anything right. Mm-hmm. And I want to show that whole process.
That's what it's about. It's not about. It's the reality of what goes on. Nobody ever wants to show the reality. They just want to show the highlight reels. And our series and continuing on with season 2, I want people to see what really happens in real struggles in real life and what happens. It's like the gold show. If you watch this show where they dig up the gold and them fuckers hit $1 million in gold every day, fuck, you wouldn't want to watch it no more. You want to see the shit break down, how they fix it, how they persevere when shit don't go. That's real life, and people can relate to that. People can't relate to, the average guy can't relate to going and killing 100 birds in 32 minutes. I've seen it happen not a million times. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. It happens some days. Right. But I've also seen days where we shoot a 0 and the guys work their ass off. And I tell clients all the time, my guys work their ass off more on a 0 hunt than they ever do on a full limit an hour. It's apples and oranges. There's no comparison. But they act like the guy worked better on a great hunt than he did on an easy hunt. And it's not true. Bad days happen. And that's what I want people to see, the real story of what happens when we didn't have a good hunt, but Michelle's got bread pudding the night before and they have a great meal, or after the hunt, they, the chocolate chip cookies, there's things you can control and there's things you can't control.
That was my first crane hunt too.
Was it?
That year. Oof.
Well, that's what.
We got a little redemption towards the end of the season, though.
We did.
Yeah,
but.
And that's the way it's going to go.
Fucking crane hunt of the year and pull a 0. Not even that. The fuckers just totally changed what they did from the night before.
Yeah.
So you're gonna,
which I think we decided somebody disturbed the roost. I think, didn't they?
Yeah, Deer Hunter went in on a place.
They were up early.
Yes,
they were up real early.
Yes,
Deer Hunter was in there. We didn't know he was going to be in there.
It's funny how much of this shit you block out, like, because I had forgotten about that hunt.
Yeah,
I had forgotten about that hunt and the details. But now that you're bringing it up, somebody came in.
A deer hunter went in and pushed them off. They were deer hunting, and we didn't know they were going to be in there, and it just kind of fucked up deal. Okay, Rick, you're going to be in St. Louis at Squad Fest, right?
I think so. I talked to Corey about that. I think him and I are going to probably grab a couple dogs and head that way.
Good deal. And everybody at Squad Fest, Andy said if you'll come buy him a beer, he'll drink a beer with everybody that buys him a beer.
That is false. That is false.
No, Andy said he would take a shot with everybody.
There you go.
Oh, I definitely did not say that. It will be a great time. We're looking forward to seeing you, and we're looking forward to seeing.
What's your beer limit for the day?
My beer limit, 2.
2?
2.
Oh, I can do 2 and I don't even drink.
Jeff.
24?
2 an hour.
This is a business trip, Jeff. It's a business trip. It's a tax write-off.
Well, Rick, we look forward
to seeing you
up there
at St. Louis, and we look forward to seeing the magic that you captured out here this last year, and looking forward to season 2, my friend.
And tell everybody on Instagram.
Looking forward to it.
Your Instagram.
What's that?
Keller_hunts.
Keller_photo_hunt.
So you couldn't even remember it either. So see, me and you're
Yeah,
similar.
And go check out that deer video that's on there. Make it
right.
make it 2 million. Make it 2 million.
And check out Double T Labs, our newest sponsor. We look forward to you. Appreciate it, my friend. And I will see you in about 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks, bud. Bye. See ya.
Take care.
I got to pee.
You got to pee?
Bad.
Really?
Goodbye. God bless. Have a great week.
Bye, everybody. Maybe I should put up the logo. There it is. All righty. Go check out all of our wonderful sponsors. Check out Ducks Unlimited, Dirty Duck Coffee, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Gundog Outdoors, Shin Gear Waders, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Alpha Outdoors, Bangtail Whiskey.